Hi everyone, John Cleese here with Lake Effect Garden and Design, and we are here at the Saugatuck Hillside House. We've got a couple of other videos of the gardens that are on the lower level, and up here on the top level on the actual hill in Saugatuck, we've got another mixed garden here between hybrids and natives. We have black-eyed Susan in here. We have beautiful, one of our favorites of course is the orange butterfly milkweed. And I think I saw over here, which I love, this is just starting to do this now, but it gets into these beautiful little seed pods on the milkweed, just like if you've ever seen common milkweed. But that's one of the beautiful things about this plant. It'll start to scatter. We've got rosinweed, one of my absolute favorite native plants. And I've got prairie drop seed that we put all along here along the driveway, because as we know, a lot of natives get pretty tall. So I wanted to make sure that when they pulled out of the driveway that you could definitely have a line of sight out towards the road. I'm gonna actually step in the garden, try not to step on anything. But this is, I wanted to point this out. This is Liatris aspera. So this is gonna get these beautiful purple flowers that come up. And this is a classic to have in your garden. Lots of you know sort of the gay feather kobold, that's sort of the hybrid, but this Liatris is absolutely beautiful. And we actually have a white Liatris that's over here. That's definitely a hybrid in there. And then prairie dock, which I think we've showed you in some other videos. This is, again, is just the first year of this garden, was all done by plugs. And then we've got purple coneflower. This guy didn't really bloom, but we can see that we've got a couple of them over here. And another stiff goldenrod, which is also in other parts of the garden. But next year, this should all grow together. And I think we have the favorite, of course, which is what my logo is. My logo is after this flower right here, which is Rattlesnake Master, one of my favorites. So I put that in here. And this was very wet, so I also came back in the spring and I added some swamp milkweed. And one thing I want to point out about this garden is this was was clay and compacted from when they built on this. It was a very tough garden to put in, a lot of water in it. But one thing about clay, if your clay dries out and doesn't stay wet, you can put in plants that don't necessarily seem like they would belong in clay. And what I wanted to point out is you can see all this orange butterfly weed that's back in through here. I planted all of this into clay. So what I made sure was that the homeowner stopped watering, basically no watering this spring, just a little bit during our drought, but then leave it alone. And for the most part, it's done really well. So don't think that you can't plant some plants in clay, as long as it dries out. It's a good lesson from this garden. A couple more plants that I think are of interest here in this garden in the hillside of Saugatuck. This is purple moorgrass. This is if you follow Pete Udolph, this is one of his see-through grasses that he likes to use in the garden. This will get very big, but you'll always be able to see through the blooms. It's not a native. Another non-native is this Blonde Ambition blue grama grass. I love it again for these beautiful little like side seed heads that go by the side. I think it's just gorgeous. But one thing in this garden, again, we planted in clay. I want to show you that even the lavender did fine. We let the clay dry out, and I was able to plant lavender in this garden as well. Again, not a plant that you would think of planting in clay.